Don't know about all you, but this has seemed like the longest international break ever. It's probably only been about 2 weeks since we last played against Motherwell, winning that 3-0 at Celtic Park, but it seems like a hell of a long time ago. I've absolutely hated the last couple of weeks having to put up with Scotland, other international teams. I just wanted Celtic back in my life. Thankfully, they return tomorrow afternoon. We're away up to the Highlands to take on Ross County. Bit of a strange one with it being a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. Not often we get that for away games. I can't actually remember the last time it happened. Result of that means that the game won't be live on Sky Sports. That means that the only opportunity Celtic fans in this country have to watch it live will be via Ross County's pay-per-view streams. They're offering that, I believe, for £15 per stream. I'm certainly going to tap into that tomorrow because I really want to see the game live. Hopefully we get a couple of new signings playing. Shane Duffy, David Turnbull perhaps, Albi and Ayeti. Hopefully Neil Lennon goes with a 3-5-2 or at least plays two up top, and the Celtic fans get a bit of a boost from that. Worth saying that I'll be on the channel at 5 o'clock post-match with John McGinley. We'll be having a chat about how the game goes, hopefully talking about a positive Celtic result and performance. So if you want to join us then, set a reminder on your phone, whatever. We'll be live from 5 o'clock right here chatting about the game, and would really appreciate if you would come along for the ride. Now, lots and lots to get excited about with Celtic at the moment. Of course, transfer season, a lot of daft rumours getting thrown about. One of the ones that's caught my eye over the last couple of days or so has been talk about a return for Paddy Roberts to Celtic. Now I'm going to take a look at that on today's video, work out whether I think it's viable and whether I would actually go for the transfer if I was in charge at Celtic. Now this first arose from a journalist down south. Simon Bajkowski is his name. He works for the Manchester Evening News, and I think he was on radio or something earlier on in the week and effectively said that Manchester City would be listening to any offers for Paddy Roberts this summer. Now that could be loan offers, that could be transfer offers. Roberts actually signed a new contract, I think, at City last year, just prior to his loan spell at Norwich City. However, he's now seen to have no future at the club, and I think Simon Bajkowski was even quoted as saying that Lionel Messi has more chance of being part of Pep Guardiola's first team next season than Paddy Roberts. So perhaps he has an inside scoop on Messi actually going to Man City after all this, or maybe that's just how he rates Roberts' chances of breaking into the City first team. Anyway, the talk is that City are going to listen to offers, and obviously with Celtic at the moment, could do with a right winger, provide a bit of competition for James Forrest. Could the stars be aligning for a sensational comeback? Roberts departed Glasgow in 2018. It was after our second season under Brendan Rodgers. We'd just won the double treble. Pretty good time to go. However, he hasn't exactly kicked on since doing so. He spent the last few years at a few clubs. Firstly, Girona in Spain. They were in La Liga when Roberts played for them. They're a kind of part of that Manchester City group or whatever they call it. So it was an obvious move for him to make from Man City to Girona. It didn't really work out for him in La Liga. He then tried out last season, the first half of last season with Norwich City. Couldn't get into their first team at all. I think he had some injury problems as well. But the very fact that he couldn't get any opportunities, or very few opportunities with a team that finished bottom of the Premier League by an absolute distance, maybe says a lot about where his football is at the moment. Second half of the season, to get first team opportunities, he went to Middlesbrough. I think he had a little bit of a bond with Middlesbrough boss Jonathan Woodgate. I remember reading some positive quotes from Woodgate back in kind of February, March time about how he wanted to re-sign Roberts on a permanent deal in the summer. Obviously, the big thing that happened between then and now was the world pandemic. That meant that football was put on hold, and from what I gather, that really was a blow for Roberts, who was just starting to find his feet at Middlesbrough, and it ended his season. So that's where Paddy Roberts is. He's not enjoyed a great spell over the last few years. After seeing what he's done in the last couple of years and the fact that he's so out of the picture at Man City, you may be pondering whether Paddy Roberts is even a good footballer. I would urge you to think about his Celtic days, because he showed enough in his time in Glasgow to suggest that he's a really talented footballer. So For me, it's a move I'd like to see Celtic doing. As I hinted at earlier, I think the fact that we need a right winger right now, the fact that Roberts, you could argue, needs Celtic more than we need him, although I still feel we could do with his presence. I just feel that the stars are aligning for a perfect deal here. I've hinted at it a little bit there, but can you just imagine the massive boost that the Celtic support would get if we were to sign Patrick Roberts? Now, I know we've already signed Shane Duffy and that gave us a big boost, and I know the club have spent £13 million, I think, in transfer fees so far. So you could argue they've already done their best to give the whole place a boost, and I think the Duffy signing and a Yeti and even Turnbull will have done that. But can you imagine if we brought in Patrick Roberts, a player who was absolutely adored at the club? I don't know whether it was the fact his name was Patrick or Paddy, the photos of him when he was a real young boy wearing Celtic tops, his bond with Kieran Tierney, the fact he was just part of that invincible team. But there was something about him we absolutely loved. And when you think about it, he didn't actually give us too many amazing goals and amazing moments, but he was absolutely loved at the club. Maybe it's something about the name Paddy, with obviously Paddy McCourt prior to him, and who knows, maybe Paddy Klimala as well. But Patrick Roberts, for me, I'd love to see us bring him back. I just think it makes sense for all parties. Who knows, he may see his game at a higher level than Scottish football, but I would argue that playing at Celtic in the Europa League and winning trophies is a higher standard than playing at Middlesbrough, and a better career path. So if Patrick Roberts is available this summer on a loan, or a loan with an option to buy, then I think we should go for it. Would I pay 2, 3, 4 million, whatever Man City are looking for him for permanent deal? I'm not so sure, but I think a loan with an option to buy, I'd be absolutely for that. What have we really got to lose? He's a player who knows the club. He knows probably the vast majority of Neil Lennon's squad, albeit there has been obviously a lot of change and upheaval since he left in 2018. But I just think it's one that makes sense. A lot of the time, people say that you should never go back, and I know that continually Celtic are linked every summer with players that used to play for the club: Gary Hooper, Joe Ledley, Beram Kayal, Anthony Stokes in previous years. And I know we often like to think, no, don't go back, move forward. But I just think sometimes, like Fraser Forster last year, it makes sense to bring a player back. And I would love to see the club move to bring Patrick Roberts in. Whether they're interested in making it happen, I'm not so sure. And whether Patrick Roberts would be interested in even coming, I'm not so sure. So if you're asking me whether I think it will happen, I don't. But wouldn't you just love it to happen? Let me know in the comments below anyway what you think. Remember, me and John are live from 5 PM after the Ross County game. Get involved in that. And if you've not yet managed to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we would massively appreciate you doing it. I'll end the video now so you can do that. And click the bell so that you don't miss out on any future uploads from us. Until next time, take care and hail hail.